Welcome into today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live, presented by Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Football Giants. My name is Madelyn Burke, alongside the Super Bowl champ, Shaun O'Hara. Phone number here is 201-939-4513, or you can find us on social media at #GiantsChat. Also chime in if you're watching on YouTube. Ask questions in the comments. We'll get to those as well. It's Wednesday, my dudes, September 10th. And just a reminder, the archive of this show and our entire podcast network is available on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and giants.com/podcast. Shaun, it is week 2, the second week of the NFL season. The first one did not go as planned or as hoped for, as the Giants lost to the Commanders Sunday in Washington. You and I did the post-game show and reacted kind of immediately, but with a couple days to kind of reevaluate, watch the film again. What kind of stands out to you in that game?
Yeah, Madelyn, listen, it marinated for 48 hours for us. And, you know, like any good steak or any meat that marinates, it kind of, you know, things start to break down a little bit. Get
New
a little
flavors
bit softer.
start to percolate.
The flavors start to soak in a little bit. So after watching the film and kind of doing a little bit of a deeper dive, as disappointed as I am in the production and the lack of points, I'm encouraged in all of the mistakes that I saw. They're all things that are fixable. Yeah. This was not, oh my gosh, we got destroyed out there, we're not even competitive. I mean, this was a close game. You know, everybody keeps talking about it was 14-6 for a long time. 21-6 makes it look like it was a little bit like it got out of hand, which it really didn't. But the mistakes and the errors and the issues are all things that are fixable. A lot of them were mental. Yeah. A lot of them were just a little technique here and there. So as a player, you know, look, you get into this weekly routine of, all right, you play the game, you assess it, you correct it on Monday. Tuesday is your flush day. Flush the soreness, flush the loss, flush the victory. You come in Wednesday morning and it's a new week. Here we go. And that, as a player, it's a new week, but it's, okay, these are the things that we need to fix. And what I've always, you know, we always talked about as players is you got to be firemen. You got to put on that FDNY hat on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You have to put out whatever fire you created on Sunday. And there are some fires that the Giants created, both on offense and on defense, because that is on film. And so the Dallas Cowboys right now are looking at everything that you did wrong. All of those fires that you started, you've got to put them out on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You got to start working on them so that they cannot become an issue again on Sunday, because that is exactly what they were going to attack you with. Yeah. The things you struggle with, you're going to see it again the next week.
Well, and we talked about this on the post-game show, too. The Commanders had left the door open for the Giants quite a bit. I mean, 12 penalties from Washington really kind of put the Giants in a position to have opportunities. At the end of the first half, when Jaden Daniels kind of throws that intentional grounding, they lose it down, and then the clock runs out. I mean, they were right there. They could have extended the lead to a 2-possession lead there, but they couldn't do it. And, you know, going into the fourth quarter, 14-6 with 12 minutes left to play, it could have gone another direction. We saw on Monday Night Football in that Bears-Vikings game, you know, the Vikings were in a similar situation, and for them, it went a different direction. The Giants just didn't have things go their way and weren't able to turn it around.
They also bailed them out when they went for it on fourth down. The penalty, the hands to the face,
but
that
the other
gave them a set of downs.
Yeah, because they're going for it on fourth down. They don't convert the play. They get a fresh set of downs at the 1. Yeah. Still aren't able. But, Shaun, I don't know if you agree with this, but it looked like they were just getting a little too cute. You know, when you've got 4 downs to get it into the end zone, 1 yard, why not just keep it simple and pound it in and just go with, you know, just get there?
Yeah, I think, you know, look, hindsight's always 20/20, and I'm sure that as soon as they got in a halftime, you know, as soon as they called the play, really, first and goal on the 1, it's your very first goal line run play of the year. Yeah. You know, I think you run the ball there. Like, you definitely do that. And I think, you know, look, Mike Kafka's calling the plays now. And I'm sure after that play, it was like, you know what, I should have, you know, kept it simple. Let's run the ball. They're not just because it's the first play, the first goal line play of the season for your offense, but you have Marcus Bowe, who is a rookie, who is playing goal line tight end, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, congratulations, Marcus Bowe. The first part of your job is you report eligible. He handled all that. That's great. That's always the
Did
concern.
It well, yeah.
We've got a rookie in there at tight end.
Handled the clerical paperwork, yes.
To report eligible. We remember the snafu from the Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys game from last year or 2 years ago where it cost them the win. But so he handled that. But look, for him, he's in a totally different position. You're in space. You're not used to that. You're not used to being there. You're on the road, so you're automatically going to be late off of the ball because you're so far from the snap, and you can't really hear it. So those are things that are guarantees. You know that's going to happen. That is has stood the test of time. So yeah, the first and goal on the one, run the ball first.
Yeah.
Or run the ball first and second down, and then throw it on third. Obviously, we're saying that because it didn't convert.
Yeah.
But the first play was a pass play to Marcus Bowe. Like that was your first play and your read. Like it was Russell Wilson rolled left, and his first read was Marcus Bowe, who is a tackle.
Yeah.
That I think is gonna, I think that's gonna haunt them a little bit. Like we should have tried to run the ball. So then they come back and run the ball on second down, and they run the ball to the left, and Marcus Bowe, the defender that's on him before the snap, cheats inside to that gap and shoots into that gap, and he doesn't cut off the penetration. And we're pulling the guard. So now he destroys the pulling guard, and now there's a hot mess right in front of the running back on the 3-yard line.
Well, and then he ends up chipping Cam Scadaboo for a 2-yard loss there.
Well, Marcus Bowe misses inside. The defensive end spikes aside. He falls to the ground, and the guard, Greg Van Roten, hits his defender, and while he's on the ground, Scadaboo runs right into Bowe. So it was a collision. I mean, it was a mosh pit.
Yeah.
And those are things that come from lack of reps, lack of live reps, but those are all things that are fixable.
Right.
It wasn't that look, Marcus Bowe can't block, or we couldn't block the guys on those particular plays. It was literally just a little technique error, a mental error, and maybe a little different kind of play call combination. But that right there, for them to not score and then have to kick a field goal there, that was the issue in the game. It was red zones and third downs. But then also on the other side, for the Washington Commanders defense, for them to hold them to a field goal after giving up the penalty on fourth down,
right?
That's a win. That was a win for them as well. So that one situation definitely flipped the script a little bit in Washington's favor. But there were a lot of other opportunities, as you said. Washington let them kind of hang around, and it could have been a one-score game if you had scored a touchdown there instead of a field goal. It's a different ball game there in the second half. I thought the defense did a great job getting pressure on Jaden Daniels. We mentioned the 3 sacks. They did give up, some big plays. Second down seemed to be a real issue for the Giants. They just second and long, they kept giving up. Jaden Daniels would scramble. The coverage was good, or Debo on a 3rd and 12 ends up running a slant route, and they convert on that. So there were times where the defense had a chance to get off the field, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't stand up. So I think those are all things that are correctable. The offensive line issues, Madelyn, I know there was a lot of talk, a lot of banter since the game about how the offensive line did not play well. I did not think they played well collectively. I thought that there were multiple times where there were good holes. They blocked it really well, and I didn't think the running backs hit the hole. I thought there were multiple times where Tyron Tracy should have poured it up in there, and he tried to bounce it, or he tried to get outside. And those are things that he's still learning to do. The NFL hole is small. I mean, you're not going to get a hole as wide as this desk. You've got to find a way to run through tight windows and run through arm tackles, and I thought they left some yards out there because of that.
Well, and then this could also, too, Shaun, be a simple way to analyze why the Giants looked so well. I mean, people say, okay, yeah, the preseason doesn't count. Why are you bringing up the preseason? The reason I'm bringing it up is because the execution looked efficient, and it was such a simple, vanilla simplicity, right?
Yeah.
When, we get into week 1 and there's some kind of creativity with the play calling and all that kind of stuff, perhaps the key is to just keep it simple, go back to the simplicity, whether it's the plays or, like you mentioned, hey, just find the simple hole. Don't try to, break one off and get the most out of it. Be okay with the base hit. Be okay with a double. You don't have to hit a grand slam every time. Yeah,
I think that comes with reps. That comes with reps and confidence. But to your point, the defense was vanilla.
Right.
So in preseason,
that too.
They're playing their base defense. You're not seeing a lot of exotic blitzes or stunts.
Yeah.
Washington slanted and stunt a lot. Almost the entire game. So that was an issue. And once they do it once and you don't pick it up, they're just they got on rinse and repeat. And the movement, the slant in the run game was an issue. The first play of the game, Greg Van Roten gets beat inside right now. So you're going to see that the rest of the way. I thought that the Giants didn't do a good job anticipating that. When you see a linebacker come up on the line outside the defensive end, those guys are moving. As an offensive lineman, right away, my head is up. I'm on alert. We'd have a call called bingo bingo meant there's a twist coming. So as soon as we saw a linebacker come up in the A gap or outside, bingo, 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 like these guys are moving. That was the alert call for all of us. And if you saw it on the right side and you heard bingo over here, all right, we got a stunt coming. Like something's happening. So that anticipation wasn't there. Like I said, week 1, knock the rust off, got to figure it out. This is a veteran O-line group. They've got to figure that out. They should be aware of that. That shouldn't be something that they continue to fault on and trip on. But that was an issue. I didn't think the offensive line handled the interior twists.
Right.
They ran a couple of tackle twists, even a couple 3-man games, and they did not pass that off very cleanly. John Michael Schmitz needs to be better with his hands. He didn't punch a couple of different twists very well. I thought John Runyon at left guard and James Hudson at left tackle, they were on different levels. They were running simple TE twists, stuff that you work on, pretty much Wednesdays and Thursdays. In training camp, they worked on it all the time. After one-on-one pass rush, you work games, you work twists. They were on different pages, and they did not pass off the twist very well. I thought James Hudson, he needs to do a better job. He got collapsed in the pocket way too many times. So you saw Russell drop back, and then in the first half, he started taking some hits. Well, guess what? Your quarterback starts to lose trust in that pocket, and that's why we saw him kind of start running around and looking for, he was pulling the parachute way too soon on so many times. So the encouraging part is this is all fixable. The discouraging part is that it happened to multiple people. Like it wasn't just one guy that had a couple of mental errors. Everybody had a couple of my bads. Russ had a couple of my bads. Running backs had a couple of my bads. Offensive lineman had some my bads. We had some drops. So all of those my bads, if you have 65 plays in a game and you had 10 to 15 my bads, that's bad football. So they've got to clean that up, and I'm sure those are things that they're going to really hone in on this week. And you go down to Dallas on the road again, you can't beat yourself and try to walk away with a win.
Absolutely. Now, head coach Brian Daboll is currently addressing the media and is speaking to some of these things. Of course, a big question mark around that offensive line play is when will we see the return of starting left tackle Andrew Thomas? Well, Thomas is not practicing today. Daboll says it is part of the plan for him. He's made a lot of progress. They look to get him on the field the next 2 days as they look to ramp him up for his 2025 season debut. Still remains to be seen when that's going to be. Obviously, emphasis on, the offense needs to do a better job on early downs. We heard Daboll talk about this earlier this week. I mean, Russell Wilson being the leading rusher with 44 yards, you get 30 yards from the backs on 15 carries. That's not going to be great for this offense, for this run game, and for opening things up the way that you want to. Other news as well coming out of head coach Brian Daboll's press conference. Micah McFadden not playing this week. They're still working through his timetable. Did see him earlier today. He's got his foot in a boot on a little scooter going around the facility right now. So wishing him a speedy recovery. Grateful that it wasn't worse on his behalf. It wasn't a break.
Yeah, they put the air cast on him and you think the worst.
I think honestly he probably felt like that too. So big sigh of relief when you see that x-ray and that comes back, but still going to be a recovery for Micah McFadden. Big loss to the linebacking core. Jackson Dart does remain the number 2 quarterback. As Brian Daboll said, Russell Wilson is the starter. Dart may take a couple reps with the ones at practice, Daboll says. Just because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. You never know what's going to happen. And
I think that's your line.
Well, it's actually, I stole that from Sugar Free, an LA 90s rapper, but it's a song. If I had $1 for every time you looked at me sideways, I could pay the West Side on Fridays. All right, I'm going to stop singing now. Bars. Sugar Free. If you stay ready. Anyway, and then Malik Neighbors, he's going to be practicing, peeling back a few reps for load management, but he will be out there on the field as well. The latest news and notes from Brian Daboll's press conference.
All right, let's talk about the first down production. So when you call a run play on first down and you lose 2 yards, like guess what guys, now I don't trust you. Now like it makes it hard to run the ball on first down. As an offensive lineman, I hated throwing on first down. Because I felt like on first down, we're going to get you 4 yards. Yeah. So if we can prove to you that we're going to get 4 yards if you call a run play on first down, 2nd and 6, now you've got the whole IHOP menu at your disposal.
Well,
you can do whatever you want.
I like the way that you characterize it as an offensive lineman. Like a run play, you're kind of like pushing into
you're physical.
And
you're
a pass
aggressive.
Play, you're kind of just bracing for impact almost.
You're passive.
Yeah, exactly. So as a lineman with a run play, you're getting active with it.
Yeah, and I think that's how you kind of establish that physical dominance. And look, hey, we came to play. We're going to come downhill on you. So as you start to have success on first down, and now they start to bring that safety down on first down, now you throw the ball, and now you have a chance for big chunk plays. Look, I thought they threw the ball on first down quite frequently, and I think it was because they were not confident that they were going to get the 4 yards. So those are things to wrinkle that they've got to work the wrinkles out in, and they've got to do a better job at the point of attack. There was too much penetration, too many leaks. Even if you get 3 yards, 2nd and 7 is still you're still in play action area, and you could still run the ball on 2nd down as well. So that's something that you've got to give your offensive coordinator confidence. Mike Kafka's standing on the sidelines, and if you're running off the field and he's like, dude, I called 3 run plays in that drive and we got 4 yards as a cumulative effort. Like, you're getting the stink eye from him. And conversely, if we're in 3rd and 1 and you throw the ball and we can't convert, I'm giving you the stink eye, because now I'm saying you didn't trust us to get 1 yard on 3rd and 1. We should be pounding the rock. So that's where you need to get from a mindset as a group, as an offense, as an offensive line, and the tight ends are included in that. You've got to find a way to make that a guarantee. Like, you can go to the bank. 3rd and 1, you call a run, we're getting it. First down, you call a run, we're getting 3 to 4 yards. None of this, 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13. That's bad ball. You got to eliminate that if you want to get the confidence and if you want to get the play call.
Yeah, and you got to establish the run, especially going into Dallas week 2. Of course, another division game on the schedule, 1 p.m. game, which we have not seen Giants Cowboys at 1 p.m. since when, Shaun?
I can't remember ever playing a 1 o'clock game in Dallas in my career. Every time we played down there, it was either 4 o'clock, America's game of the week, or Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. I think I remember playing down there one time, and it was it might have been playing in Cleveland at the time.
Week 6, 2005 is the last time. 2005, okay. Giants at Dallas was Sunday at 1 p.m.
Sunday at 1 p.m.
But it has never been the opener
that's
of
almost
Sunday
20
at 1.
years.
Or it has never been. Yeah, they have never. Wait, this isn't
so
the
week
opener.
6. So that was the old stadium. Yeah. So I think I remember that game. Greg Ellis was the defensive end. I think the nose guard was Leroy Glover, who was a stud. Man, he was a beast. That's a long time.
It's a long time.
That's 20 years ago.
Cowboys, though, fun fact, only had 2 home games last season at 1 p.m., and they lost both of them. So 0-2 at 1 p.m. at home for the Cowboys. Yeah. Got that going for us, which is nice. And then also the run game, though, bringing it back to the reason I brought this up. We talk about establishing the run. Cowboys allowed 158 rushing yards to the Eagles in week 1. Yes, the Eagles' run game is very different, but still that's 5th most in the NFL. But for perspective, last season, Dallas, allowed the 4th most rushing yards per game in the league. So it's a very different run defense you're going up against in week 2 in Dallas than you were in week 1 in Washington.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts obviously was a contributing factor in those. That's true. Those rushing yards. But yeah, it's basically the same situation. You're on the road. It's a 1 o'clock game. It's a divisional game. Mm-hmm. We talked about it on the postgame show. You got a chance to go 1-1 now in the division. You start out the season 0-2 in the division. You're in a hole, and you got to climb your way out of it. So that makes it tough. But look, this Dallas defense, even without Micah Parsons, this is going to be a physical game. You know that you're going to get stunts. You're going to get movement from the guys up front. You're going to get some of those same blitzes. Over the last 2 to 3 years, the one thing that the Giants struggled with when Micah Parsons was in there, they would run those twists. They would run Micah Parsons. They would line him up at linebacker or inside the A or B gap and run him on a twist with 2 other defensive linemen. And I don't think we picked it up in 3 straight games. So they're going to go back to that, and they're going to do the same thing. So you got to put that fire out. And I feel like whenever we were on the road, Madelyn, the first possession always kind of set the tone. That set the tempo. Even if you go down and get a field goal, like, you've got to put together some sort of drive. You can't go 3 and out. You can't go 4 or 5 plays out and get off the field. It's got to be a productive drive. And productive can even be, hey, look, we get 8 or 9 plays, and you pooch punt it and you pin them down inside the 5-yard line. But if you can find a way to manufacture points on that opening drive, I think that does a lot on the road with your confidence, and it tells your defense that look, they're going to get some help in that game. So you got to start fast.
Got to start fast. You got to start strong. Giants fans, make sure you go and subscribe to the Giants Huddle podcast. It features long-form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office staff, past and present. Plus, you'll hear from the best analysts covering Big Blue and the NFL. Search for Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, or simply go to giants.com/podcast. And don't forget, if you are on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star positive review for all of our Giants podcasts. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know the deal. You know how it is. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. We've got quite a few callers calling in today, so let's get to the phone lines, starting with Kevin in Arizona. Kevin, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on with Shaun and Madelyn.
Hi guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
First of all, good. First thing I'd like to say is I agree with everything that was just said in the first 5 minutes of the show. Absolutely agree. By the way, I coached 18 years in Arizona here in football.
Nice.
High school football, and so I kind of look at things from a coach's point of view. And my view of the offense, and I know the offensive line has been taking a beating this week after that game, but to be honest, technically, there was a lot of good things I saw. For instance, John Michael Smith, they keep throwing him under the bus, but this guy might be a little light in the pants, for a center, but technically, he moves very well. And what I was kind of hoping to see is maybe more stretch plays or movement, flooding one side or the other, maybe running some plays more to the outside instead of just double teams, straight ahead power type stuff against that defensive front of Washington. These guys are studs, and it's very hard to move them. They're literally unmovable. So what you got to do is use finesse linemen, and I kind of look at this. I look at the left tackle and the center. I see more of a finesse game here, kind of like the old Denver Broncos had, where they had the very mobile offensive linemen. Why not flood the zones on both sides with outside zone runs and get people moving and get these guys, get them moving where they can get angles and angle block. I know when I started coaching football, we had a lot of skinny kids. We had like 170-pound offensive linemen. So we had to run wing T because of the trap and all that stuff, and we wanted to get angles because we couldn't blow guys off the ball. We wanted to get angles and get people moving. We ran the buck sweep and all that stuff to get outside. And so I think some adjustments here. And also, when you have all guys moving in unison, those stunts go away because you're filling gaps. And you move that entire offensive line one way or the other to the outside. If they can run all the stunts they want on defense, you're going to fill every single gap. And those linemen know when they're moving to the right or left, they know they're picking up the next guy. And we're walling off that outside. We're controlling that edge. Once we get on the edge, we'll be gone. We got enough talent. We got some speed in the backfield. And here's another thing I kind of disagree with. Putting Scadaboo in a deep I formation, this is not him. And hitting him in the A gap, this is not Scadaboo. In Arizona, I had 4 years of watching this guy, or 2 years, the last 2 years. He is a cutback type runner, a guy that will go with the flow outside, read his blocks, and then make a sudden cut and cut it up in there with power. And he gets low to the ground. It's hard to tackle. If you put him back that far in the backfield in I formation and just pound it in the A gap against that defensive front, come on. That's too easy. The defense, these guys weren't being moved anyway. But again, the point I'm trying to make is a little more finesse. We got guys, I think, that can do a good job. These guys are all veterans. They know what they're doing. Get them moving in unison and stop those stunts on defense and try to get on the edge and then run a bootleg off of that with the quarterback. Get Russell out of that pocket. My God, he's only, 5'10"? This is the same problem we have in Arizona with our quarterback at the Cardinals. In the pocket, he panics because he can't see. So now they're starting to roll him out, and they're starting to roll him out left or right. This is how you have to deal with a short quarterback. And look at all of them in the league. They have the same problem. It's hard to see through guys that are 6'5", 6'8", and you're trying to find hitch patterns and things like this over the middle. It's not going to happen. And so I just think moving the offensive line, that's my point, moving the offensive line in unison and getting seal blocks and filling those gaps to stop those darn stunts by the defensive linemen, because you're right. They are going to do it in Dallas. They're going to bring everybody. They're going to run X stunts and everything, you name it. And so get these guys all moving in unison, run some bootlegs maybe off of that, run some counters off of that. You get a counter play with for instance, Scadaboo on a counter play. He loves it. When you have pulling guards, a guard or a GT block, and he's going with them and he's reading the block, this kid's dynamite on cutting it up and with power. And he's so low to the ground, sometimes you can't even see where he is.
Yeah.
And so that's my point. That's my point. I think the defense was decent. I don't like playing Carter as a shadow guy watching the quarterback. Get him on the edge and let him attack.
Good stuff, Coach Kevin.
That's what you drafted him for. But I think the Giants got beat up unfairly a little bit too much, because I think the scheme. I don't think Kafka had his best game calling. Too predictable. That first play on the goal line, so I agree with you 100%. Everything you said this morning was absolutely what I thought. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the call, Kevin, and thanks for the great insight, too. Coach Kevin from Arizona.
Yeah, love it, Kevin.
And also, Kevin's got the scouting report deep on Scadaboo. I respect it. Congratulations, by the way, to Cam Scadaboo winning Angry Runs this week. He got the scepter his first week in the NFL.
Yeah, don't be alarmed. If anybody New York residents saw an angry wild man shouting from a rooftop terrace in New York City, it was just Kyle Brandt doing his Angry Run segment.
Kyle Brandt in Soho.
Right, wielding a scepter and screaming liquid death, I think he was. That's what he was, the beverage of choice at the time. But Kevin, very astute. Great call. Love hearing from a coach that sees it the way you see it. I think when you look at the run game, I'm with you. As when we were, back in our heyday in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, we ran on everybody. Like there was no stopping us because we could get them moving. And to Kevin's point, when you get defensive linemen that want to stunt, if we get them running in zone, and the Denver Broncos did it with Terrell Davis, when Mike Shanahan was there, that zone running scheme, you get the defense running horizontally. Now you can slice them. Now you get them running. Now you can penetrate them. You create seams. So that's what you've got to do. I don't feel like they did a good job of kind of pressing the hole and getting movement at the point of attack, which allows the running back to press it and then cut back. Now he brought up Cam Scadaboo, and he's right, because I watched a lot of film on Cam Scadaboo when he was coming out, and then after we drafted him, he was excellent at seeing those blocks develop and getting patient with them, and it's something that he got better from his junior year to his senior year. He became more patient. You can't outrun your blockers, and you can't be in such a hurry to get to the hole that you beat them to there. You have to let the blocks develop. You got to let them marinate. All right, we're going back to that.
Marinate the steaks.
I thought he did a great job, and we call those gap schemes. When you're double teaming on one side and you're pulling a guard on the other, that's a gap scheme. All right, we are going to exploit a certain gap, the B gap, the A gap, the C gap. We're going to double team at the point of attack and edge the defense, seal it off that way with the double team, and then pull a guard or a tight end, and we're going to kick out the defender on that. So it's a gap scheme. We're trying to attack that gap. Zone scheme is we're running the ball towards the 4 or 6 hole, which is the right guard, right tackle, and we're going to get everybody running on a zone, and then now you cut up. You keep press it front side, you cut up, or you cut back. That's a zone scheme. So I thought Cam Scadaboo was a much better gap scheme running back than necessarily zone, because he let those plays develop and he found a way to cut that back. So, very astute by Kevin. Great call. Look, the offensive line, you've got to earn it. That's what we talked about. Like if you call 15 run plays and you get 30 yards, that's not good enough. They've got to move people. I thought John Michael Schmitz, to your point, I thought he did a good job in the run game. I thought there were times where they got movement at the point of attack, and then those were some of the plays where I thought, maybe somebody else got beat or the running back didn't hit the hole, hit it downhill and get the 4 yards. Sometimes you got to get those dirty yards, 3 and 4 yards, before you can pop the big 20-yard run. But listen, Washington's defensive front is better than most people think. Yeah. Deron Payne is a pain in the butt. Like he was knifing through. He is a big dude and he moves really well, so he was a problem. Eddie Goldman has been a premier defensive tackle in the league for a number of years now. He is a very physical dude. Javon Kinlaw was a handful. They moved him all around. So that was a very good defensive front. And I thought they did a really good job disrupting that rhythm for the Giants offensive line.
They absolutely did. And also, you can't forget, this is a team that went to the NFC Championship game last year. This is a good Washington Commanders team, a very tough opponent for week 1. Not an excuse, just a piece of information for you to take with you.
Hey,
Giants
Dexter
fans,
Lawrence had his kid.
Well, his wife did.
Sure.
Yeah. Congratulations, though. Sexy Dexy.
What do we got? We have breaking news?
Sexy Dexy is a girl dad. His wife, Donna, just had their first child, gave birth. It was a girl.
Donna and Dexter.
Dex is not at practice today because Donna gave birth. Adorable couple, adorable family.
That's probably, man, I kind of feel bad for Donna. Like, I wonder how big the baby was. Like,
I mean,
Dexter's not putting, like, he's not putting out 6-pound babies. Like that's probably,
yeah.
I mean,
Donna's an athlete right there for whatever.
I'm saying a minimum of 9 pounds for that baby. Well, congratulations to both of you. Special time in your life, and that's awesome that Dexter hopefully was able to be there for that. There's nothing better than being a girl dad. I've got some bracelets right here to prove it. Welcome to the family. Welcome to the club. Yeah.
And congratulations, Dexter, entering his daddy era. You know what is interesting, too? I think this is a theory.
I see what you did there.
Sexy Dexy. The theory that I have, though, is I see this a lot in sports. When men have a child for the first time, it's like it unlocks something different. Like when Scotty Scheffler's kid was born, all of a sudden he's the world #1 golfer. Like, I don't know. There's something about that dad energy. And there are several players on this team that are having their first child or have recently had their first child in the coming months. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, Dexter last week was on a limited snap count, was still kind of working his way back. But as he's getting back out there, is that dad juice going to come? Is he going to be next level?
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up. So apparently there's been a lot of new babies, a lot of new additions to the Giants family, which means it was a really good offseason.
It was a great bye week, if you do the math.
Great offseason. There were coaches that were having babies, players. To your point, I think it does put you into a whole different perspective on life when you have a child. And all of a sudden now things...
You got more to support.
Yeah, I call it BK and AK. Like, life is BK before kids, and then AK after kids. Like, your world changes, and the world, you realize it's not just about you anymore. It's not just about you and your wife. It's about your children. And so it definitely gives you a different perspective, gives you a little more motivation. And I also think the secret sauce in this whole thing is caffeine. Because I didn't drink coffee until I had kids. Like, it was never really a thing. I didn't do it a lot. Once you have kids, you find that coffee is your lifeline. And I think that helps you kind of power through. And you all of a sudden find that you are more efficient in everything you do in life, because you now have another human being to take care of. So you can no longer just waste time and just lay around the house. Like, there's always something to do, and you run on coffee. America runs on coffee. So do dads. Yes. Dads run on Dunkin'.
And especially because, Dexter is going to have to be making sure Donna is doing well after bringing into the world their young daughter.
I can't wait to see the first picture that comes out of Dex holding his baby girl.
High and tight.
We don't have a name
High
yet,
and tight.
But like how little that baby's going to look.
Yeah.
Like it's going to look like a little American Girl baby doll.
A little baby football, right? Just cradle.
Laces out.
Congratulations, Dexter and Donna, on the birth of baby girl. Giants fans, run or walk with Giants legends. The Giants Foundation will host a 5K race and kids run presented by Quest on Sunday, October 26th at 9 a.m. at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds will benefit the Giants Foundation. All participants will receive a commemorative T-shirt, and after the race, stay for a post-race festival with appearances by Giants legends, a live DJ. Register now at giants.com/5K. The Giants Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. Shaun, I know you're going to be out there.
I'm not just going to be there, Madelyn. I'm running.
Yogging, I believe it's pronounced.
I
the
am
J
yogging.
Is soft.
It's this new sport where apparently you just run.
For an extended period of time,
Yeah, to quote my friend from Eastbound and Down, I'm not into that whole exercising thing, but I will be there running. And listen, it's a fun day. I ran in it last year. Last year it poured rain. We still did it. We got through it. Brandon London was there. I thought he was running with us. and he tapped out. He just stuck to the microphone, which was probably a smart move. But it's such a fun day, and it's a run and walk. Like, don't feel like you have to come out there and run the entire time. There were, people with kids. The kids were running and walking, having a good time. Push the stroller. Donna, feel free to join us. Donna Lawrence and
and baby.
Dexter. I'm not going to ask Dexter to run it. He's got things
game
to
day.
do.
Yeah.
It's game day. But it is a great day. It's a fun day. They've kind of set up a track for you, kind of around the parking lot. There's a band there. There's music, and there will be plenty of food, plenty of coffee, I'm sure. But yeah, come on out. Let's do it. Let's run together.
3.1 miles, a 5K. You want to do it. Giants.com/5K. Come out. Lots of Giants legends will be there, and it's a nice little way to start the day. 201-939-4513 is the phone number as we head back to the phone lines. David in North Carolina. David, how often do people say that to you? You're on Big Blue Kickoff Live with Shaun O'Hara and Madelyn Burke.
Hey there. Hope you all doing well. Shaun, listen to the opening segment, and obviously much respect for the breakdown and what you're seeing and the optimism. And I wish I could share in that optimism.
I hear you. I hear you, David.
I've seen Dan Quinn's defenses just wreak havoc on this team too much over the years with the twists and the stunts, and it just, I hate to be critical of Coach Dayball, but I just worry about, what did we prepare for? We've seen this guy, this coaching staff has seen him in Dallas, obviously last year with the Commanders. And, to your point, they obviously added, and not to take away from a solid defensive line, but it just seemed like, we just got the brakes beat off of us up front, and it's just disturbing that we aren't more prepared. Dan Quinn is obviously a very well-known coach, defensive coordinator, but it's not like his defenses are unpenetrable. It's mainly a cover three scheme where the players in the scheme are just really sound, turnover savvy, type scheme. Normally there's some opportunities to run against it, and even in those years in Dallas, it just seemed like we never could take advantage of, even when Dallas was struggling those years with Quinn there, to be able to run the ball when we should have been able to. So that was, I thought, was just the most discouraging thing. And then the other thing I'll ask, and listen to your answer off air, I know Dex, there were some critiques about Dex not dominating, and, hey, he's human and missed a lot of the, regular off-season ramping up. They kind of took it easy on him with his years in the league, et cetera. So maybe he wasn't in top form, top game shape. But another thing I struggle with is, as dominant as he is taking up 2 blocks, how is our run defense so bad? Are we asking Dex to penetrate too much? Should we be asking Dexter to anchor down and hold those 2 blocks? So I feel like with him constantly taking up double teams, that should open up opportunities for the linebackers to flow through, be a better run defense. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, and I appreciate your guys' time.
Thanks so much for the call, David.
Yeah, David, good stuff. Let's just start with where you ended right there with Dexter Lawrence. Absolutely. If 2 guys are blocking Dexter, somebody should be free. And I think one of the things that I've always said about week 1, and sometimes even week 2, I call it sloppy September. It's sloppy. Defenses don't look great. There's a lot of missed tackles. This is the first time that defenses are playing an entire game. So we saw a lot of different times where the run fits were not there. So yeah, 100%. If Dexter Lawrence is taking on 2 blockers, and he's doing a great job of handling his business, plugging the gap, other guys have to fill their gaps. So now if you're pushing that running back out to another space, somebody else has got to fill. So I thought Bobby Okereke, he missed a couple of run fits. I thought he missed some tackles, which is uncharacteristic of him. Look, when we signed him, he was one of the best free agent signings in that first year. He played every single snap for us. led the team in tackles. Obviously got banged up last year and missed some games, but he's been a tackling machine ever since he got here. Look, no excuses. You gotta perform. I chalk a lot of those things up, and those missing run fits, missed tackles, defenses kind of learning to play together for the first time. Some of them, some of that was very sloppy. And then to your first point, look, Dan Quinn's a hell of a coach. I mean, look, he coached the Seattle Seahawks defense back when they had the Legion of Boom. That's why he got hired by Atlanta, because of the success he had up in Seattle, and that defense was a juggernaut. So it's not just his scheme, it's the way that he coaches them and the techniques that they're using. So he goes to Atlanta and then to Dallas. So for him to prepare for the Giants offense, he's seen the Giants every year that he was down in Dallas. Last year, obviously, he wasn't there. Mike Zimmer took over for him when he got the job in Washington, but he knows how to play how to play against the Giants. He knows the offense. He's done a good job of that. And you go back to 2-3 years ago when he was the D coordinator down in Dallas, that's the exact same thing we struggle with, was the slants and the stunts that I talked about. And he had Micah Parsons in there. And, you gave Dan Quinn Micah Parsons, and he was already had a good defense. I mean, that was just the cherry on top. So I think that defense, listen, it will expose you for what your weaknesses are and the things you struggle against. And I think that look, it's good that you found out in week 1. All right, here are the things we got to work on. And like I said, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's what you're honing in on. Those are the fires. You're putting on the hard hat. You're breaking out the fire hose, and you got to put it out.
Yeah.
And that's something that I'm sure Matt Eberflus, who is the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys, he was the head coach for the Chicago Bears and until he was relieved of that duty. Schottenheimer picked him up, and he's running the Dallas Cowboys defense. So Matt Eberflus is no doubt going to be looking at what Dan Quinn did and say, hey, look, I'm gonna try to copycat some of that. It's a carbon copy league, so I'm sure they're going to see that again.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said too, I mean, it's a coachable moment. You take a loss, and the L for loss is an L for learning, as we said the other day.
That's what I tell all my kids.
Yeah,
I coach 5th and 6th grade football.
Yeah.
And I tell them, the L doesn't stand for loss; it stands for learn.
Yeah.
So we don't need a degree in losing.
Yeah, don't need a degree.
We don't need a master's degree.
Maybe just drop in for a couple classes.
Yeah, we'll settle for some online training.
But it is, obviously sometimes it's easier to kind of pick things up after a win energy. But when you lose, and you lose in that way, you're kind of zeroed in. Okay, here's the things that we could do better. And the big test of what is the identity of this team, was the heart of this team, was the backbone of this team, is how they bounce back from what they did in week 1. Giants fans, with another impactful draft and free agency class in the books, that means it's full steam ahead to the 2025 NFL season. Take your fandom to the next level with the Giants season ticket membership and catch all the action at MetLife Stadium with an exciting home schedule on the horizon. With a membership, you'll also stay connected to the club all year round, not just on game days, with exclusive member access and benefits. To learn more about a New York Giants season ticket membership, visit giants.com/tickets. 201-939-4513 is the phone number. Let's head back to the phone lines. They're lighting up. Dan in Connecticut. Dan, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on the line with Madelyn and Shaun.
Hey, thank you. Should I take it off the speaker?
You're good.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Yeah, but I've been a fan since 1973. I was an usher at Yale Bowl when I was a kid. I grew up near there. So I was pretty disappointed Sunday, I had a couple of comments. I just wanted to commend that guy, Gunnar Rosecki. He got hit so hard on a punt. I don't know too many guys in the league that were going to hold on to that ball, and he did.
Well, you got a name like Gunnar, you got to be tough, and he is. But that we could hear that hit all the way up here.
I'd give him some shots on a couple of plays, but also I thought Bellinger had better hands than the other tight end. I think they should give him some more shots too.
I think Theo will be all right. I think he's going to bounce back. That that was, I think, first game jitters. I don't know. That was uncharacteristic. Theo, I mean, we watched him all training camp. That guy was lights out. Like, we were so impressed with how much he had progressed even from his rookie season last year. So I'm sure he's fired up and he can't wait to make amends.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a caller called in yesterday and he was saying that, he wanted to, on a goal line, first and goal, he would like to see Chapman, and Scadaboo. And I feel the same way. That's what I would have wanted to see, you know?
Well, Elijah Chapman's on the practice squad.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. In the preseason, they had Chapman lined up at fullback. You know, I would love to see Cam Scadaboo at fullback, Tyrone Tracy at running back, and you know what? You pound the rock as Cam Scadaboo as the fullback a couple of times, and then now you line up again, and now they think the same run play is coming out, and now you leak Cam Scadaboo out into the flat, and you throw on the rock because you know everybody think he's the hammer, and then now you leak him out. So. I think that could be a good wrinkle as well, but I'm sure they're going to have some other plays to get Cam involved, and I'm sure they're going to go back to the drawing board a little bit and try to figure out some goal line plays and execute that a little bit better.
Yeah, I hope so, because it looked like, you know, the same old stuff. Like as soon as the quarterback getting the ball and they're on him, we got no chance.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You got to block. You know, that's goal line is always so. Just so you guys know how the game plan is implemented. Friday is goal line day, so it's goal line short yardage. It's 2-minute situation on offense. That's when you install your goal line packages. And to be honest with you, we go into a game. Sometimes we'd only have 3 goal line plays. So when you get on the goal line, which is really the 1 or 2 yard line, that's when you go into your goal line package. Some teams will stay in their regular personnel depending on, you know, who they have available and who's healthy. But your goal line package is really 3, maybe 4 plays tops. You know, it's probably, if it's 3 plays, it's 2 runs and 1 pass. If it's 4 plays, you know, maybe it's 2 and 2, but it's usually 3 and 1. And it's usually run heavy. Team, if you want to make the playoffs, you have to be able to punch the ball in from the 1. Like the Philadelphia Eagles have mastered the quarterback sneak. I hate calling it the other thing that everybody calls it, but
the
it's a quarterback
shove.
sneak. Brotherly shove. You know, there's
push.
something else. Yeah, that one. It's a quarterback sneak, but they're basically saying you can't stop us. And when they get on the 1 yard line, it's a lock. Like strike up the band, they're punching it in. You've got to get to that point where we're on the 1 yard line. You call 2 runs, we're getting it in.
Yeah. Thanks so much for the call, Dan. Appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, and that's the important part too, is just having that goal line efficiency too. When you get all the way down there, you want to be able to
You have to
capitalize.
You got to punch it in. No excuses.
Got to punch it in. The Giants official connected TV streaming app Giants TV brings original video content and game highlights on demand and direct to Big Blue fans. Giants TV is free on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, and on the Giants mobile app. We've got some YouTube comments coming through as well. A lot of conversation around, we talked about Marcus Bowe. Greg Denham was asking about Marcus Bowe. We talked about him a lot at the top of the show. Can we try Bowe out in there somewhere? I think he's probably alluding to remixing the offensive line.
Yeah, look, it's week 1.
Yeah.
I get it. Everybody's frustrated, discouraged. Like, you don't make wholesale changes after 1 game.
Yeah.
I think James Hudson, and to the question about put Bowe in there, they're probably saying, hey, maybe we should give Bowe some reps at left tackle. I'm all for that. And you know what? Like, he's a young guy.
Yeah.
He has been a right tackle.
See what he's got.
He did play left tackle a couple of times because James Hudson, I think in the joint practice against the Jets, he ended up not going. Jermaine Illuminor had a baby one day, so he ended up filling in with the ones at right tackle, did a good job. But, you know, left tackle is a little bit different than right. But, you know, I wouldn't be shocked to see them saying, look, if Andrew Thomas is not ready to go, which it doesn't sound like he's going to play again this week, you know, they're worried about the long haul here with Andrew Thomas, which is smart.
Again, he's coming back from a list, Frank. He's not practicing today, Wednesday. They'll get him out there on Thursday and Friday, but remains to be seen.
Yeah, they're not going to rush that. You know, and I had that injury. It's a tough one. It takes a long time. It's kind of like an ACL. Like it's like a year and a half before you really kind of feel like you're yourself again. But to sprinkle Marcus Bowe in there and let him get a couple series here and there, I think would be a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Because he's the first man in at tackle right now. And that's why you saw him dressed, and that's why you saw him as the goal line tight end.
Absolutely. Joe Scalzo on YouTube saying, Washington saw a lot of success over the middle. Do you think that was a consequence of losing McFadden? Well, I will acknowledge that the first play after Micah McFadden gets carted off the field, Darius,
right at him.
Muasau gets in there, and they target right at him, and they get a touchdown to Zach Ertz.
Yeah, and I kind of look at that question. You know, they were attacking the middle of the field. Zach Ertz had a number of big catches. There were a lot of deep in cuts. Terry McLaurin had a couple. Deebo Samuel had a couple. That is always a tough area for defenders. You know, if you're in the slot, like you're expecting them to run an out route, or you know, you've got to kind of defend both sides of the field if you're the slot corner. So that is kind of tough. The way to stop those deep throws over the middle is to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah.
If you're not getting home, so a lot of those throws over the middle were on plays where the Giants only rushed 4 and they didn't get home. Now, the one thing that I noticed that Washington did a lot of was they were chipping our ends. They were chipping Burns. They were chipping Carter. They were chipping Thibodeau. They were very conscious about, we've got to give our quarterback time to let those deep in cuts develop. And it was smart by them chipping. It helped. It kind of helped slow down that pass rush and give that time to happen. So if you're going to do that, you've got to find a way, run some twists, find a way to get some pressure up the middle so they can't sit back there and pick you apart down the middle of the field.
Absolutely. 201-939-4513. The phone lines are lighting up. We got time for a couple more. Alex in New York. Alex, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on the show with Madelyn and Shaun.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's my first time calling in, so I'm pretty excited.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for calling.
First time, long time. We love it,
First time,
Alex.
long time. Alex in New York.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I first want to say it's an honor to be on the phone with Shaun O'Hara, Super Bowl champ. I personally think you're one of the best centers we ever had. And you're doing a great job on the Eli Manning show, by the way. We need to get 60 Cent in some movies, you know?
All right, I like it, Alex. I like the way you think, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, you're doing a great job. I like the swag and everything, man.
We learned how to lean back from Fat Joe. It doesn't get any swaggier than that. Like I tell you, I think Eli and I both stepped up our drip game. We know what Riz is now. Like we're definitely getting some lingo out of it.
They're going to be saying 6'7" before you know
6'7".
See?
Oh,
I like it. I like it. And I want to just say, like, do you ever sit down with JMS and, like, coach him up? Because you are one of our best alumni on the team, you know? So it's been a couple years. He's been in the league, and we're kind of waiting for him to be solid. And, you know, we drafted him high. So I just wonder, like, do you ever sit down and talk with him or coach him up?
Yeah, it's a great question, Alex, and we appreciate you dialing in, and we appreciate you hanging with us and contributing. So I think center is such a tough position to play because there are so many things going on. You know, you've got to make calls, you've got to see the defense like the quarterback does, then you got to snap the ball and then block. So I have talked to JMS on occasion. You know, I've never really taken him aside on the field. You know, I mean, there's been a couple of things that I would say to him in training camp, in passing if the time allotted itself. But look, I'm more than happy to help out and do all that. But Carmen Brasilla is a good O-line coach. I think he's done a good job with that. Chris Snee's also been helping out as well. He's a senior scout with the Giants. I think the one thing that I would really work on JMS with is in pass pro, he's getting a little top heavy. And I feel like he's physical. And when the Giants drafted him, the one thing that jumped out at me was he's really good on combo blocks, really good at the point of attack. He gets good movement. He's very stout. I think he just needs to keep working on his hands. As a center, you've got to have quick hands. You've got to get your hands inside right away. Those are some big boys. And I think the one thing that he has struggled with is passing off twists. And, you know, I was not a long-armed center. You know, once you kind of get labeled as a short-armed guy, it kind of sticks with you your whole career. And I think that's one of the things that he's really got to just keep working on. But I know he's a hard worker. I know he's very critical of himself. And this training camp I thought was the best that I've seen him look. This is the healthiest that I think he's been. So I think he's still trending up. I think he's, you know, his awareness is heightened, and he's figuring out some more things. Now all of a sudden he's not caught off guard by some stunts and some blitzes. I think he's kind of seeing some of that, but you know, I think he's still gelling with his right and left guards, and they need some more time to figure out some of those wrinkles. And you know, look, it was the first game for him as well this season, so I expect marked improvement from week 1 to week 2 for JMS and for the entire O-line.
Absolutely.
And thanks for watching the Eli show as well. I appreciate it.
We got to get it
You can call in
rebranded.
anytime, Alex. Alex is he's number one in my book right now.
First time, long time, but first of many, and especially.
Don't make it the last.
No, definitely. Alex in New York calling in. Big fan of the Eli Manning show, as we all are. I'm just pushing for the Eli Manning and Shaun O'Hara show rebrand because 60 Cent. You don't have an Eli Manning show without 60 Cent.
Well, I mean, look, there's Shaun O'Hara and then there's 60 Cent.
That's true.
So, those two guys,
Superman, Clark
rarely
Kent.
do you see them in the same room at the same time. But
I have never yet.
I don't need my name on the show. When Eli approached me about the show, he asked me to do it, and I said, I'll do it under one condition, that we get to make fun of each other. And he said, I wouldn't have it any other way.
So essentially, the baseline of your relationship just on.
But that kind of has bled into the show. The banter of it's not my show. And actually, one year he made a joke that he was going to add my name to the show, and ended up being a spoof on me. So I'm okay with it.
It was a press conference.
As an offensive lineman, we don't do it for the recognition. We do it for the fun.
Do it for the love of the game.
But I would like to knock someone on their ass in the show. I kind of miss that. Maybe we can find a way to incorporate that. And if it happens to be Eli, so be it.
I feel like this is how ideas are made, right? This is the spitball, the brainstorm.
Yeah, we should do like a rollover. So we should make Eli play center and I'll play quarterback.
Honestly, I'm here for it.
Yeah. That would be good. Omaha! I could do that. He handed the ball off half the time anyways.
What, like
people
it's hard?
People never talk about that with the quarterbacks. If there's 50 plays in a game and they only threw 22 times, that means they handed the ball off 28 times. That means they were a spectator for half the time, and they get paid more than everybody.
Yeah. What? Like it's hard? I could do that. No, I'm kidding. I could not.
That's another discussion.
That's another discussion. 201-939-4513. We got time for one more call. We got Rob in New London calling in. Rob, welcome to Big Blue Kickoff Live. You're on the line with Shaun O'Hara and Madelyn Burke.
Well, I'm honored, Madelyn and Shaun. And Shaun, a couple real quick housekeeping issues. Number one, do you really drive? Is that Ford yours, or is that belong to the New York Giants?
The Ford?
Oh, on the
when you
segments,
drive, when you're interviewing people,
the drive-alongs. Yeah. So the Ford, no. Unfortunately, I did not get the Ford, and that was 2 years ago. We did the Ford truck, which was awesome. I think it was a Ford Raptor. This year is the Cadillac. And it was the all-new Cadillac IQ. It was the first all-electric full-size SUV that Cadillac ever came out with, and that thing, let me tell you, I felt like I was going to the moon. Like that thing was like a spaceship. It's the first SUV to have a 55-inch screen from pole to pole. Like this pole to this pole of the dashboard was an entire touch screen, 55-inch. I felt like I was in a movie theater. Yeah, it looks like that. Yeah. The Jumbotron in the middle of AT&T Stadium. That car was sick. I was just as excited to drive that thing as I was to sit and talk with the coaches. But yeah, I appreciate you watching those. Those are always fun. It's also a very good test in your multitasking ability to not crash while you're doing the interview, because you've got camera people trying to film you as you're rolling. It's like you're filming a movie set, like a race scene, or a driving scene. So that's a lot of fun. And it's the Cadillac this year is our big sponsorship. So I like the way you think. I think I should have a car. I think I should drive the car for the whole season.
We got to work that into the deal.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, I think you deserve one, Shaun. You are the best of the best of all New York Giants centers. How long would it take you could you suit up? How many plays do you think you could last? And then I'll get to my point.
Oh boy. I don't know. I've never thought about that. I'd have to put on 70 pounds to get back to my playing weight. But I think I could give you a series. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to walk the next day, but I could give you a series.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'll tell you this: I can get to the mic. I'll get that song down.
Well, that's good to know. So as far as the game on Sunday, now I'm not a participation award guy, but look, if you're going to have the worst game of the season, get it out of the way. Because frankly, I don't think, and this is why I think you know what, I hate to say it and I hate to jinx it, I think we're going to beat Dallas on Sunday. But we can't play any worse. And that goes for the defense, too. Because I would like to see more aggression in the middle of the field against the tight end where we've been killed in the last 35 years. I think, Pepper Johnson was on the last team that could defend the center of the grid. But as far as, I'd like to see a little bit, better, like more aggressive play than that. But we can't play any worse offensively, so I really feel optimistic. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you, Rob. I think that's a great way to look at it.
Thanks for the call, Rob.
To your point, look, they did not play well, and yet they were still in the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't until that last Deebo Samuel touchdown run that the game kind of felt for the first time it might be out of reach. But they were, when they were down 14-6, and the defense goes out there, and Drew Phillips makes that unbelievable tackle on Deebo Samuel on 3rd and 1. And they ran him from across the formation, and it was designed to go to Deebo just to basically outrun Drew Phillips, who was in man coverage. That was an unbelievable tackle. That was a great play. Deebo Samuel, everybody knows how tough he is to bring down, and he made the play. And boom, punt team comes out, and it's like, all right, here we go, 14-6. If they go down and score and get a 2-point conversion, it's a tie game. We got a ball game here. So that, to your point, they didn't play well at all, and yet they were still within one score there at the end. And then obviously after the Deebo touchdown, it kind of got away. And then now you're in a pass happy offense trying to get back into the game. But the fact that they didn't play very well offensively and they still had a chance they were still in it, still had a chance to win it there. I think that's a good thing. That's half glass full for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's the way you look at it because it was week 1. So if that was the worst performance of the year, I think we'll all take that.
A friend of mine has this shirt that says, I want you to appreciate that I could have been meaner. And I'm like, and it feels like that same energy from the Commanders. Like, I want you to appreciate, like, this could have been harder. The Commanders did really just leave the door open, and the Giants, had some opportunities, but it's a good learning experience also because as much as that is a glass half full thing, it's also, hey, not every team is going to commit 12 penalties. Not every team is going to kind of shoot themselves in the foot and leave the door open when you're not having your best game. So you're fortunate, got to appreciate they could have been meaner. Fortunate they weren't, but this is a good moment to learn from and to take those lessons so that you don't get a more significant loss in coming weeks.
Yeah, good teams steal games like that.
Yes.
When you left the door open, you found a way, because if the Giants had found a way to win that game, Washington would have walked out there and been like, how the heck did we give that one away? Like, we did this, we kept them in there. I can't believe we messed up at halftime. Yeah. Like, they would have been kicking themselves. So good teams steal those games.
You know that, like, a mouse can get through a hole that is like the size of like smaller than a dime.
Yeah.
So be mice. Just get through there and get the win. This is like my attempt at a Ted Lasso quote, instead of be a goldfish, be a mouse. And like, even if they leave the door open just a teeny tiny little bit, just get in there.
Wiggle your way in there.
Wiggle your way in there. On that note, we leave you. First of all, I want to remind you all, don't be a rat. Mice, like a little, we got some exciting news for you as well. Join us at the Ultimate Women's Tailgate presented by Joe Malone on Sunday, September 28th. It's 10 a.m. to 12:30 in Lot G ahead of the Giants' Week 4 home game against the Los Angeles Chargers. Attendees will have the opportunity to connect with Giants. Oh, that's me, team reporter and tailgate host, Madelyn Burke. I'm just reading the copy. I'm hosting it. I'm hosting it, so come out there, come hang out with me, come hang out with some of the Giants legends. We've also got a curated custom merchandise shop, Kendra Scott activation, tailgate games, giveaways, photo opportunities, a live DJ, entertainment, lots more, lots of excitement leading into that Week 4 home game against the Chargers. You get tailgate food and a drink ticket, all included with the ticket purchase. 21
drinks,
over. Yeah, It's 21 over. So we got drinks, we got food, we got jewelry, we got merch.
Drinks, food. We got Kendra Scott, so you're going to get some nice bangles, some earrings, and then Joe Malone. Who doesn't love a Joe Malone candle?
Right? Joe Malone perfume, candle, and then Therese, the newly branded Giants merch.
Yeah. Sounds winning. What was the date again?
September 28th. It's Week 4 before the Chargers game.
Okay.
And feel free, if you want to bring a +1, you can bring your significant other, you can bring your son, as long as they're 21 over. Men are allowed to come, but this is for the ladies.
Lot G for girls.
Lot G, girls, because girls is players too. That's what we're doing. You like that? I appreciate the giggle. All right, that's a wrap on our Wednesday show of Big Blue Kickoff Live. It's week 2, turning the page. Giants Cowboys 1 p.m. Sunday in Dallas. We've got Giants postgame live immediately following that one on MSG Networks and on the Giants YouTube channel. Plus, make sure to check out WFAN, the Giants radio broadcast, all of the coverage. Big Blue latest is on Giants socials, Giants.com. Giants, 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 the end. For Shaun O'Hara, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next time.